I'll now call the March 2nd, 2023 meeting of the Oak Ridge Town Council to order. I'd like to note that we're missing Mayor Pro Tem Kinnaman tonight, and in addition, our town manager, Bill Bruce, can't be here tonight, so we're very grateful to our assistant town manager, Sandra Smith, for taking on his duties. Welcome to everyone who's here tonight and everyone watching via the live stream. We're so glad you're here. Now, what a pleasure it is to meet in service of our town, and now I'd like to invite the Oak Ridge resident family, the Carter family, Gina and Charles, right? Is that right? And Harrison and Olivia and Grant forward. They're going to be doing our invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance. Will everyone rise, please?
Hi, will you bow your heads, please, and pray with me? Dear God, thank you for this opportunity to serve our town by starting this meeting. We thank you for each and every one in this room who serves our community. We ask for wisdom as decisions are made during this meeting. Help our leaders be unified in making the best possible decisions and to effectively carry them out. Make each member of this council feel valued and recognized for their skill sets and knowledge. Lastly, may they continue to have joy in service to our community. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Olivia and Harrison, and thank you, Gina, for that beautiful prayer. We'll now move on to item 2, which is approval of our agenda. Is there a motion, Council?
Madam Mayor, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries and the agenda is approved. We'll now move to approval of our minutes from recent meetings, both regular and special called. Please note, as council knows, that the February 15th meeting minutes for our special called CIP meeting aren't yet ready for review, so we'll consider them at our next meeting. Council, you've had an opportunity to review these in draft form. What is your pleasure?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the February 2nd, 2023 regular meeting, the February 22nd, 2023 special called meeting, and February 22nd, 2023 closed session minutes.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries and the minutes are approved. Thank you. That was a lot of meetings this month. This last month, I guess I should say. We will now move to resolutions, proclamations, and announcements. And the one thing I would like to recognize is that in the middle of February, one of our dear Oak Ridge residents, Paney Stafford, celebrated his 100th birthday. He is a veteran and a wonderful member of our community, and we did send a card from this council and from staff, and just want to reiterate how happy we are that he reached this milestone. We'll now invite staff from the Guilford County Sheriff's Office forward for a report.
Hello, I'm Sergeant Southern with the Sheriff's Office. This month, we responded to approximately 200 calls for service in the Oak Ridge area. Only 15 were formal cases. And out of those formal cases, we had an outbuilding break-in, which we've identified the suspects. There was a motor vehicle break-in at the Cascade Preserves off of Goodwill Church. Similar smash and grab to like what we have over here at the park. I'll remind everybody this, with the warmer weather coming and everybody getting out, just keep your cars locked, keep all your valuables put away and not visible in the car, because that seems to be the trend. As it warms back up, we'll start seeing an increase in those. So,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
I will now invite a report from the Oak Ridge Fire Department. Thanks for being here tonight.
I'm James Secrease with Oak Ridge Fire Department. In the month of February, Oak Ridge responded to 70 incidents. 32 were EMS calls, 12 were canceled en route calls, 4 false alarms, 2 gas leaks, 1 extrication/rescue, 2 motor vehicle accidents, and 1 fire confined to a container. And for the month of February, the Oak Ridge Fire Department had 607.5 hours of training.
Thank you for your service. Any questions, council? Thank you very much for being here.
Fire safety tip, stay hydrated as warm weather approaches.
Thank you.
I didn't mean to
Thank you.
interrupt. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now move to item number 7, which is the town manager's report, and we will turn to Ms. Smith for that report.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, the first item for your consideration is some board appointments and reappointments. We'd like to ask you to consider reappointing Patrick Fiorentino to the Planning and Zoning Board and appointing Tara Tillman as an alternate to the Planning and Zoning Board.
Thank you, Ms. Smith, and I know Ms. Tillman is here tonight. Thank you for being here. Council, in accordance with our written policy regarding appointments to standing boards and committees, and based on a consensus vote of this body, consideration of these 2 appointments has been placed on our agenda tonight. Is there a motion?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I make a motion to reappoint Patrick Fiorentino to Planning and Zoning Board and to appoint Tara Tillman as an alternate to the Planning and Zoning Board.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? I remain just so pleased that people step forward to serve our town. If there's no further discussion, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the motion carries and the appointments are approved. Congratulations.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. We will now move back to you, Ms. Smith.
The next item is the revision to the Parks and Recreation fee schedule. You have a memo in your packet that explains, 2 years ago, this was actually brought before council and asked to consider raising the amount that we charge for our shelter rentals, just to make those more competitive with what everyone else around here charges. And at that particular time, we were in the throes of the pandemic, and council asked us to put that aside for that time. And so now the Parks and Recreation Commission has asked, board has asked that we bring this back up and ask that you change the amount for shelter rentals.
Council, is there a motion on this matter?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the revision to the Parks and Rec fee schedule for the shelters.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Any comments or questions? If not, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries and the new fee schedule is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is urban archery season for 2024. The town has been participating in this program for the last several years. In 2024, the dates would be January 13th through February 18th, and we are asked to send that into the Wildlife Commission prior to April 1st, which is why it gets brought up so early. So just ask that you consider approving urban archery season for 2024.
Council, we do this every year. I think it's good for people who practice urban archery. Is there a motion?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we approve urban archery season for 2024 in Oak Ridge.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? If not, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries and the season is approved. Thank you. Is there any other business?
Finally, the only other item that I'm aware of that Mr. Bruce was going to bring up is just a reminder that the April meeting of the council will be held in March. That's because there are 5 Thursdays in March, and to avoid any kind of conflict with Holy Week, council asked that we move that to a different date, and so that would be March the 30th.
March 30th.
Thank you. So this is a fun meeting. You want to be at the next one, March 30th. Okay. Thank you very much. We'll now move on to new business, item number 8, and we'll go back to you, Ms. Smith.
Okay. The next item is approval of a match for the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant for the purchase of property at 8250 East Harrell Road. As you see a memo in your packet, a grant application has been filed by the Piedmont Land Conservancy for the purchase of this property, which is located at the corner of East Harrell Road and Highway 68. It's about 42 acres. The majority of it is in floodplains and wetlands, and there's about 8 additional acres. The parcel is on the town's proposed Haw River Trail Corridor, and this offers a wonderful opportunity for trail development and open space preservation. And we have also discussed this issue with our Conservation Easement Committee, and they strongly support the preservation of this property. So the Piedmont Land Conservancy would intend to purchase the property for $189,000, and that is its appraised value. And along with closing costs and other fees, the total cost would be $223,950. And the match amounts are discretionary, but we wanted to make sure we submit a competitive application. And so they've requested or suggested that a $40,000 match from the town. So following this purchase of the property, the ownership would be transferred to the town, and a conservation easement would be placed on the property.
Thank you. Council, is there a motion on this matter?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we approve a match of $40,000 for a Land and Water Conservation Fund grant application for the purchase of the Alma Blaylock property at 8250 to 8298 East Harrell Road, which is Guilford County Tax Parcel 163465, and fund the match using a portion of the currently restricted fund balance for future land acquisition.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Would you like to start discussion since you made the motion?
Sure. I think this is a great opportunity to protect and preserve our environmentally sensitive wetlands and our open space with the conservation easement. That also allows us to have future trail development in Oak Ridge along this Haw River Trail Corridor. I want to thank the Piedmont Land Conservancy for their leadership and advocacy in this acquisition and for working with the grant application. As Ms. Smith said, the acquisition is supported by the Conservation Easement Committee as it furthers their core initiative, which is conserving Oak Ridge through easements. And also, it furthers our goal 2.1 of our strategic plan that states that the town of Oak Ridge will use creative methods to preserve farmland, open space, and historic resources. I also think it's the perfect use for a portion of the funds that have been set aside for years for future land acquisition.
Thank you. Councilman McClellan.
Shouldn't Spencer go?
I just called on you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have to agree completely with Martha. I mean, it's preserving not only open space, but valued wetland and open space, as far as, for trails and things of that sort. It puts us really in the forefront. And so I have absolutely no problems about supporting this. I think it's good not only for today's generation, but hopefully will be beneficial for the future generations.
Thank you. Councilman Sullivan, I
Thank
wasn't
you.
going to overlook you.
I know you weren't. This is a terrific idea. I think most people are aware, but if you're not, these wetlands are actually the headwaters of the Haw River, and water does run downhill. And so we're preserving and hopefully keeping free of pollution not only water, land, wetlands in Oak Ridge, but what happens here can affect everybody downstream for us. So we're not only helping ourselves, we're helping the Hall River as well.
Thank you. Those are great points. I just want to explain also, for those of you who don't know what an easement is, the Piedmont Land Conservancy is actually purchasing the project, and if we get the grant, we're committing these matching funds, but they are also putting a protective easement on it that is almost irreversible protection of these properties as open space in perpetuity. That means that even the 8 acres that are suitable for development will never be anything but something that is protected by the easement. So potentially one day, and we don't have to do this right away, it will go by the clock of budget funds available and MST focus on this property. We could eventually put a little parking lot on those 8 acres, a picnic table. That's in the future, but in the meantime, the land is protected. This is a great opportunity for our town that we don't want to let pass us by. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries and is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. The next 2 items I'll just kind of lump together. Council has met previously and discussed its update to the strategic plan as well as the capital improvement program. And you have all had an opportunity to review those updated documents, and so we just ask that you formally approve those.
Thank you. Council, is there a motion?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the Strategic Plan 2023 update and approve the capital improvement program.
Second?
I suggest you have a separate motion
Yeah.
for each of these.
Okay.
Thought we were supposed to lump this together.
Councilman McClellan, is that all right? Can you just move one at a time, please?
Oh, sure. You want to go on?
Start with the strategic plan.
Okay.
That was strategic plan, okay.
Make a motion that we approve the Strategic Plan 2023 update.
Second?
The motion has been made and seconded. Council, is there any discussion on this matter?
I would have,
McClellan.
thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I mean, we've had to make some hard choices, and the one thing is each year we do come back and review things. Strategic plans occasionally do have to be reviewed to make sure that they continue to be relevant, and they are. And I believe that this is all part of, our not only planning for today, but planning for the generations that are yet to come. So, I mean, I wholeheartedly support this plan.
Thank you. Councilwoman Pittman, any comments?
I was just thinking as I read through it, that it's one of several plans that we use as our guiding documents as we're considering, planning for the future and protecting what we have. One of the things that I like about the strategic plan is it is a dynamic plan. It continues to evolve as we have successes and as we identify new challenges. And I think the updates that we have done position us in a good place to move forward with the things that we need to do.
Thank you. Councilman Sullivan.
Nothing to add.
Okay.
They covered it.
We met back it actually was October 20th that we met, and it took a little while to get the edits done, not because there was any disagreement, but because we've had so much on our plate. I would encourage everyone to read the updated plan. It's available tonight on the meeting materials for this meeting, and it will be posted in the town plans section on our website, probably sometime tomorrow. I worked as an independent consultant for nonprofits for 15 years, and one of my specialties was helping organizations create strategic plans. And strategic plans are only helpful and useful if they're realistic, if they really address what an organization or a town like ours wants to be when it grows up. It has to be based on your vision, and it has to be realistic. And in our case, sometimes even if they are realistic and good plans, they still sit on the shelf. But because of our wonderful staff and this active council, we have taken on the items in this ambitious strategic plan. And we're we're motoring through it, I would say. By any bureaucratic standard, we've been making great progress. So I wholeheartedly support this. If there's no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries and the updated strategic plan is approved. We can now move on to a motion for the capital improvement program.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the capital improvement program.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Would you like to comment at all, Councilman McClellan?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is where we kind of look at our priorities financially. And, you know, one thing, the two things that I'm very happy to say is that we are still committed to the breaking ground this year on the first phase of our new Heritage Farm Park. And we're still committed to breaking ground later, or assuming that the funds are there, to build the elevated water tank, which will help with fire suppression here in our town and help give our folks better fire protection. And also looking into the future as far as a main line that will come from out of Kernersville and hook into here in Oak Ridge. We had to make some but we did have to make some tough decisions. We had to rethink the priority of tennis courts because two reasons. One, of course, we don't have the money. Number two, the numbers that are there probably are antiquated. The cost of courts, whether it's pickleball or tennis, or both, have gone up. So that required us to move that back because our goal is to not go below $1 million on our fund balance. You know, so we want to be able to, you know, we feel that's a good comfort level financially. And so we did have to make some tough decisions there because I know, like, you know, many on this council, I've been approached by folks who are really very passionate about pickleball. I'm passionate about pickleball, you know, because I understand what it is, but we have to make these tough decisions. Now, that doesn't mean that we won't bring it back into the picture because as funds and other funding sources become available. But we had to make some tough decisions in that regards. We're still committed to, you know, putting sidewalks out there, and you're going to see some sidewalks being built this year, for instance, over there when the road projects begin for the intersections. So that's the importance of what the capital improvement plan is about. Because we want to do things, we want to move forward, but we don't, as I always say, we don't want to go bankrupt either. So it is a delicate balancing act, and sometimes we do have to make these hard decisions.
Thank you. Councilwoman Pittman.
I think you pretty much said it all. As he kept saying, we did make tough decisions, and but we did it because it was important to us to maintain a healthy fund balance. We didn't want to do anything that would jeopardize our ability to keep our current tax rate low. And with the additional funding, I'm hopeful that we will be able to move some of these projects that we pushed out a little closer over the next few years. But we just have to take a wait and see attitude on that. I think all the projects we selected are worthy. I think they support and are compatible with our long-term strategic plans. So I'm happy with it, as I can be.
Thank you. Councilman Sullivan.
You know, we find ourselves in a really good position in spite of the rising costs and the other challenges that we face because we have always, as councils, and I'm going back to when we incorporated, been very fiscally responsible. We've kept our tax rates very low, but we've also been very frugal in our spending. So we've been able to accumulate balances that allow us to undertake these major capital projects as they're available. It is a challenge. We do want to keep a healthy fund balance just in case there's an unexpected expense that we have to meet. But I really do point to the folks on our finance committees and on our previous councils as well as this current council and commend them for their fiscal responsibility that makes all this happen. Thank you.
That's an excellent point, that we rely on our finance officer, our staff, and our finance committee for guidance on all of these issues. But the way we're spending money in our CIP, which is the big capital projects, is guided, as Martha said, closely by our strategic plan and by the priorities we've set. So we're trying to match things up. And that's the litmus test for everything we do, is it a priority? Is it in the plan? And the priorities are based around things that benefit residents: preservation, recreation, growth and development, and infrastructure. So if there are no further comments, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries, and the CIP, five-year CIP plan is approved. Sorry, I had told Principal Smith that he didn't need to be here until 8 o'clock, and I'm thinking we're moving faster than I thought. That's not usually the case, but we're motoring through something else here, I guess.
We could always have a halftime ceremony.
Yeah, yeah, we'll have a halftime, so that's a great idea. We'll now move to item number 9, which is a period, the first of 2 periods for public comment. We invite speakers to come forward, provide their names and addresses, and to keep their comments brief, under 3 minutes in length. Is there anyone who wishes to speak? Mr. Logan, come on down.
Hello, my name's Michael Logan. I live at 5202 Rambling Road, Greensboro, North Carolina, not Oak Ridge. But I do represent Oak Ridge and have been for several years in the Republican Party, and am now the appointed nominee for the school board to replace Patrick Tillman. There's been some focus on my media post, and I'd like to read one of my media posts on Facebook. Educate yourself and your children. A child that can read and comprehend can determine for themselves what is right and wrong. An educational system with focus on teaching what they believe is right or wrong instead of reading and comprehension is an attempt to control the outcomes and beliefs of the students. An educational system should be open and transparent. There should be a true measurement of the outcomes. Many times at school board meetings, I have walked past groups studying Teach the Truth. We have an educational system that has standards so low they cannot learn the truth. We have a school board member with focus on social and emotional agenda, not an educational one. We have a school system that is concerned about being first and not helping the most. We need assistance with safety in our schools, so we need metal detectors and we got scanners. Lost my space. All right. One of the focuses that we have had at the school board meetings recently has been electric school buses. We just recently replaced the roofs on the temporary buildings at Northwest High School that are 25 years old. $600,000 or $500,000, $600,000, that is basically what one electric bus and charger would cost. Why are we focusing on that? When school board members fail to allow an outspoken employee on the board, it speaks volumes to what is and has been the agenda within our schools. I do reach out to anybody that has any questions. Call me, talk to me. I look forward to hearing from everyone. I do know within the legislature, I think we are going to finally get it cleared up, and the school board is going to have to accept me. And I do stand for Oak Ridge, as I stand for Stokesdale, and I stand for Summerfield. Yes, there is Greensboro within District 3, but I think they're already represented. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for what y'all do.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak tonight? Seeing no one, I'll close this first period for public comment, and we'll move on to item 10, which is our monthly financial update, and I'll invite our finance officer, Sam Anders, to present that update.
Good evening, Council. Everyone should have received a copy of the financials by email yesterday. For the month ending February the 28th, excuse me, we had assets totaling $5,733,942.59. Of this, current liabilities were $51,510. Deferred inflows is one of all accounting entries. So we got total liabilities of $65,471.82 and a fund balance of $5,668,470. This contains the various committed capital project fund balances and the restricted fund balances, one of which I will touch on here momentarily. But we've got the ARPA money and other things are in there from the grants. For the month, on the Statement of Revenues and Expenses, we collected $140,973.61. We expended $144,937.66 for a net decrease in fund balance of $3,964.05. Behind this schedule, you've got Schedule 1, which is the banking schedule with our banks. We have as depositories, Truist, Bank of Oak Ridge, and Piedmont Federal Savings Bank. Following this is a listing of all the deposits and checks for all the ins and all the outs, followed by the fixed assets. And there has been a minor change on that. You'll notice that we've got some additional equipment that was bought, which is our audiovisual equipment and everything that was upgraded that was paid for. And on the last page is our debt schedule for the loan on the park property. Overall, normal month for this time of year, the bulk of the property taxes have been received, so we're having a decrease in revenues. However, we did have a fairly strong month for the minor amounts. $16,514.94 in property tax, vehicle tax of $9,467.49. Total received $25,982.43, and this was the collections through the last day of February. That came in yesterday, and will probably be hitting our account tomorrow. For the month, we had sales tax and property tax, which we normally do. We also received interest totaling around $12,000, solid waste disposal tax, donations to the Veterans Honor Green, some MST revenues, and other park revenues. Our investments at the banks are being monitored. We're looking for other approved options to increase our yield. Right now, we are seeing some increases, and it's nice to say that last month we posted $12,000 in interest, given that in the last few years, in some years, we did good to get $12,000 of interest. So the markets are better in that light. For the month, we supported the staff with grant compliance, the LGC application process. We're continuing to support the ARP and SCIF grants, as well as the CIP process, and work on a potential water system. And that ongoing, we are monitoring and re-registering ourselves with the SAM system. I really should get a commission on that, sam.gov. But we're working our way through that. That is the main clearinghouse for all of the grant paperwork, which is the good news. The bad news is they are consolidating 13 separate systems being operated under that one into a new system that is supposed to operate much better, much smoother. So we're hopefully got our fingers crossed on that. We are in the process of doing our re-registration on whichever one of the 13 systems will accept us. But we do have that working. One last item. In addition to my normal monthly report that I would like for you to accept, Council had requested the establishment of an MST restricted fund. If you'll look under the restricted funds on the first page of the balance sheet, the total there is the total revenue collections on MST donations that was in our fund balance. We went back and resegregated that and have it stated down there. To formally establish this, I would ask that you have a motion, a second, and a vote for the establishment of that fund because it was a transfer, interfund transfer, but it's still a restriction. And to make it binding, we need to have it a voted restriction. So that and my report. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Okay. So first, council will entertain a motion regarding whether to restrict revenue earned by the Mountains to Sea, or MST committee, in a restricted fund.
I make a motion that we approve the creation of a restricted fund for the MST revenues that they earn and donations and things like that.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries, and the MST fund is approved, that creation of the fund. And now we need a motion to approve the financial report as presented.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the financial report as presented by our Chief Financial Officer.
Second?
The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries, and we thank you for that financial report.
Thank you very
We're
much.
very grateful. I know you're doing a lot this time of year, and not just for us. Thank you. We will now proceed to a series of committee reports, and I'll invite reports of up to 3 minutes from each of our committee chairs, and Ms. Smith will keep time for us. We'll start with Parks and Rec. Mr. Browning.
Good evening, Council. My name is John Browning. I live at 8024 Linville Road in beautiful downtown Oak Ridge. Here to present the activities report for our Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Our meeting was held February 16th, and I'd like to highlight just a few of the items that we talked about. We approved a 5K run to benefit Leukemia and Lymphoma Society by the Youth Association Teen Leadership Group. I haven't really kept score, but we've got several runs already scheduled for the park, so that is appearing to be a good activity for our park, the 5K walks and runs and things like that. We did approve a rain date for our fireworks show from Ridge Fest, and hopefully we'll be able to have it as scheduled at Ridge Fest, but if not, that rain date is going to be October 14th, which will be at a Music in the Park event, so we thought that was a good fit for that. Speaking of Music in the Park, we're in our final stages of planning for the Music in the Park for this coming up year. Just to refresh your memory, we have 2 community events with local bands and 4 sponsored events with more regional bands. And so we've got all the bands booked. Now we're just working on sponsorships, and we're making good headway there, our subcommittee is. So we're excited about that. Be here before we know it. April 22nd is our first Music in the Park, so that's exciting about that. The bulk of our discussion in our meeting was about the playground at Heritage Farm Park. And as I shared with the mayor, this is the most passionate I've ever seen our group about any project at the park. This playground has just kind of taken off, and everybody's terribly excited, to break ground, for the whole farm park, but for this playground. Several members of our group have visited new playgrounds, particularly in Greensboro, and just the technology in playgrounds. Of course, the cost has increased too, but just the playground technology has increased over the past few years. So we're excited about what's out there and looking forward to that. And I'd like to just share with you just a couple of comments that some of our members made that pretty much reflects the feeling of our group going into the planning of this playground, that they want the playground to be set up for ages 6 to 12, but some elements for toddlers and some for young teenagers as well. So kind of something for everybody is what we had hoped. And just a playground that will kind of be different and stand out from the 2 playgrounds that we already have. And we would like for this playground to be accessible for people with all disabilities, for it to be all-inclusive for all children and their families, regardless of abilities and disabilities for that. We had talked about hopefully making it a farm theme with local history incorporated in the overall design. And we're thankful for the $280,000 budget that we have. But we realize that will be spent fast, so we realize we're going to have to do it in phases. So, and we're going to hopefully go in with being able to expand it without any delays in construction, just due to the good exam. And I think Ms. Smith's egg is ready, so anyway. But I do appreciate the time, and I'll try to get copies of this to you for
That would be
these comments.
great.
But we are terribly excited, and we sure look forward to getting started on this. Thanks.
We're so grateful for what your group is doing. Thank you. The Finance Committee didn't meet, but the first meeting of the new budget season is already, well, the new budget season is underway, and the first meeting of the Finance Committee will be this coming Monday, March 6th at 7 p.m., and residents are all welcome to come. We'll now move to the Water Advisory Board, but they didn't meet either, so I see that Mr. Harton isn't here. Historic Preservation, Ms. Schoenfeld.
Good evening, I'm Debbie Schoenfeld, 8501 San Siro Farm Court. It's nice to see all of you. We met at our regularly scheduled meeting on February 15th. The HPC held elections for chair and vice chair, and they elected me for chair and Caroline Ruck for vice chair. So we get to keep our positions. I don't know, nobody wanted it. I'm kidding.
Thank you for serving.
We fought over the positions, and Caroline and I just kicked our way to the top. Anyway, we approved a site plan COA for the property located at 2102 Oak Ridge Road. We prepared and submitted the HPC's fiscal year 23-24 budget. The Historic Heritage Grant applications were mailed out mid-February, and an ad was placed in the Northwest Observer. Applications are due April 14th, which gives residents about 2 months to contact and schedule meetings with their contractors, and we really hope to get a lot of applications this year. The Committee for the Historic Oak Ridge Book is planning to meet on March 8th, and we're going to review our schedule. That's it for me. Are there any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now move to Planning and Zoning. Mr. Streck. Thanks for being here tonight.
Make it some nights. Jason Streck, 8518 Rosedale Drive. Planning and Zoning met for the regularly scheduled meeting January 26th, where we approved site plan for 2101 Oak Ridge Road. No other business was held.
Thank you.
All right.
And that's the same site plan that HPC reviewed, which is the property owned by Mr. Anders at the corner of Linville and 150. And I just want to say thank you for beautifying that prominent corner in our town and moving forward on hopefully what's going to be a great project. Let's see, we'll move to Mountains to Sea. Ms. Farrell, thanks for being here.
Hey, I'm Stephanie Farrell, 5839 Billet Road. Tonight, I am here to give the report for the Mountains to the Sea Trail Committee. We met Tuesday, and we met via Zoom. We discussed the 2 trail work days that we had in February. One was in the Pemberley Estates area, and as one of the committee members said, we breached the area into Summerfield. So we have met up with Summerfield on that end of the trail. There's more work to be done, refining the trail, and still rough cutting in the direction towards 150. We also had a great mid-week workday on the Headwaters Trail that included 15 volunteers. So it was 15 people that came out on a Wednesday morning. Areas that were holding too much water were reworked, and a small bridge was built over the washout on Beaver Alley. We continue to discuss future trail areas and ideas with the hopes of extending and adding to the wonderful trails in our area. And we also have 2 trail workdays scheduled for March, I believe, Martha, correct me if I'm wrong, March 8th and
18th.
March 18th. So another midweek workday and a Saturday workday. Both are from 9 to 12, and we welcome everyone to come out and join us. We'll provide the tools. Bring your loppers. Are there any questions?
No, but thank you. We're so excited about your progress.
And then the Conservation Easement Committee did not meet.
Oh, right, because that's next, and thank you for hitting on both teams there. And special events, Mr. Walraven is here because Ms. Dumachowski is out of town. And you are the vice chair, right?
That's correct.
Because you were just reelected. Okay, great.
Yeah, yes, very, very delightful. Ben Walraven, 5931 Pepper Road. The Special Events Committee met on February 14th, had a nice turnout, 11 attendees. We're continuing through the Veterans Fundraising to add money to the Veterans Green. We got another $1,000 donation from the Long family. We've reached out to several local businesses asking for donations. We're also asking folks that have been part of the Oak Ridge community to, and have not yet contributed, to consider doing that. And if you have not given, please, please open your wallets. At last report, Patty said we had $184,074, so we're now at $185,074, which means we have about $7,500 of private contributions, which are then matched by the town, and that'll get us to our goal. Our Light Up the Night event continues to grow, and this coming year, we'll have 25 star lights to light up the park, plus one very large star to commemorate our 25th anniversary for Oak Ridge. We'll be asking for volunteers to help put together the additional stars. We have to put together some more yardstick stars. We'll push back our start time for Light Up the Night from 2 p.m., and the event will end at 7 p.m. And Barb Engel is starting to line up the craft and food vendors. Our special events budget for 23-24 has been submitted to Bill Bruce for review. It's a little bit higher due to the inclusion of the 25th anniversary dinner, which I'm going to touch on right now. The Oak Ridge 25th anniversary dinner will be held January 20th, 2024 at the Oak Ridge Methodist Church. A catered dinner will be provided along with recognition of our town's many volunteers. North Carolina State Representative John Hardister has agreed to coordinate the flying of the American flag over the state capitol in Raleigh on the original date, which is November 3rd. And Ann, our mayor, has volunteered to attend this event. I don't know if you knew that, Ann.
Sure.
At least that's what Patty said. In addition, we're working on a new 25th anniversary logo, Christmas ornaments, which we'll sell, lapel pins, and T-shirts. This is a pretty big deal. There's going to be a celebration of the 200th anniversary of the Charles Benbow House. We're checking on dates that is convenient to the owner when we can parade through and take a look at their place, and that'll be in October more than likely. And there will be wine and cheese, a house tour, and an entertainment will be featured. The Special Events Committee held their election of the chair and vice chair, with Patty Dumachowski continuing as the chair and myself as vice chair. Any questions?
Fantastic. Thank you. Excuse me. And the tree board, do we have a report today from them?
Nothing newsworthy to report.
Okay. It went well, though, right? It was a good meeting. This was your second meeting of the newly organized tree board, and we're proud of the work you're doing. We'll now move to community organization reports, and here's where, hopefully, and I don't see Oak Ridge Military Academy, and I don't see Mr. Smith from the elementary school yet, because I told him we wouldn't get to this until 8 o'clock. So,
Do public comments and comments.
yes, and we'll come back. Is there anyone, maybe all of you, who could offer public comments tonight?
Come on.
Is there anyone who would like to speak?
Come on,
I've
guys.
never known my husband to be tongue-tied, but in this arena, he's probably just texting my daughter, who's watching this on YouTube again. Okay,
Mayor,
if,
did you intentionally bypass Oak Ridge Youth Association?
are they here?
I'm not sure they're here, but.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I saw that Randy wasn't here.
Okay.
So I'm wondering where he is as well. That's why I'm killing a few minutes of time. If Mr. Smith comes and we're still talking, counsel, would you be willing to let him speak?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so I'll now, so no one has jumped up to speak. Chris, anything to say? No. So I'm going to now close this second period for public comment, and we'll move on to council comments. And we'll start with Councilman Sullivan.
I'll be brief as usual. This is a great night for me because of our new sound system. I don't know if you folks have noticed it as much as I have noticed it up here. As one that has hearing difficulties, this is amazing to be able to hear everyone speak clearly without my having to resort to lip reading, which I sometimes have to do. We had to wait a long time to get it in. Thanks to Mike for all his hard work in putting this together for us. And I look forward to the subsequent meetings where I can actually understand what everybody's saying. We have a bid opening this month, I think, do we not? And that date is the 26th. The 16th, I think, is the Redmond House, AKA Farmhouse. So we're hopeful to get 3 bids so that we can finally get a cost number on this project. We've had to speculate and be concerned about that aspect of it, given our experience on taking bids on the Heritage Farm Park, where we only got 1 bid and had to re-advertise, and so we could open the 1 bid that we did get. So as we've already said, we are moving forward on a lot of fronts with a lot of different projects, and this is just one more.
Thank you. Councilwoman Pittman.
It is March, and spring arrives this month on March the 20th. And this is my favorite time of year, and there's lots of ways to enjoy the spring. As all of you know, because I'm sure you've heard it until you're tired of hearing it, that 2023 is the year of the trail in North Carolina. And the Great Trails North Carolina, which is a Great Trails coalition of trail people from throughout the state, their theme for March is Spring into Action. As Stephanie mentioned in the MST report, if you're looking for a way to spring into action and get outside and help build some new trail in Oak Ridge, we do have those 2 work days that she mentioned planned, Wednesday, March the 8th, and Saturday, March 18th. Both of those will be on the east side of town in what is currently known as the Pemberley Estates and Carriage Cove. And yes, they did break through rough trail, actually crossed into Summerfield by a few feet, I believe, so that we could say we made it to Summerfield. If you're interested in helping in any way and keeping up with what we're doing in Oak Ridge on our trails, the Oak Ridge Mountains to Sea Committee has a Facebook page, and you always feel free to contact one of those members or me. If you want to talk about the MST, I'm always happy to talk.
Thank you. Councilman McClellan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, I tell you, the year is off to a good start. I mean, hopefully this month, we're going to see a new business opening up here in Oak Ridge. Finally, the bagel shop. Apparently, they're targeted for sometime here in March. And went ahead and posted that in their website. So I'm always excited when we have new businesses and business owners that want to invest in our town, and also creates new job opportunities for people. In addition, I want to, the mics are great. I know I don't wear a hearing aid, although I was starting to think I needed to wear a hearing aid. The sound system is marvelous. Taxpayer dollars well spent. And also what we've done today with the capital improvement this month, as well as the other things, we are moving right along. This is a year of big things happening, the park getting started, ultimately seeing fire suppression, increased fire suppression with the water tower. And of course, hopefully we'll get an idea of what it's going to cost to go further on that with the improvements on water systems. So this is certainly a great time to be here in Oak Ridge. It's an exciting time. This is what I love about municipal government, is getting things done. And I want to thank our staff for their hard work, for what they have done, and also our volunteers on our various committees. They're doing a tremendous job. None of this could happen without the volunteers on our committees. So anyway, I've stretched it, Mayor, as long as I can.
Yep,
and,
I know.
The fellow's still on no show.
I knew I could count on you.
And there he is.
There he
my
is.
Yay.
Yay.
Mr.
Well,
Smith.
anyway, just to say one quick thing, it's an honor to serve you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman McClellan. Come on forward. We're moving much more quickly than I thought, so now you can't trust my predictions anymore, but we said we'd wait for you.
Thank you, thank you. Well, I just want to thank everybody. I really wanted to take a minute to thank the community for their support of the school. I can't say enough how important it is and how wonderful it is to work in a community that's so supportive. I took a couple of notes just to think about different groups. The town, for all the support that you guys give us constantly, we really appreciate it. Our PTO just purchased a lot of picnic tables for on the side of the school so that parents will have more access to come to the school to eat with their children, which will be awesome once we get those installed and once they arrive. And then the Youth Association, I was actually over there, and they gave me a championship ring because I've helped them a little bit this year. So I was showing that off to the kids. I thought it was pretty cool. For all that they do for our children, it seems like their youth programs are continually growing. I think soccer has over 300 students. I mean, they've just done an amazing job, and they have their leadership program for the upper grade kids, which is great. And the Summit Church, I don't know if people know, but they come once a month and bring coffee and danishes for the staff. They also come once a month to cover cafeteria duty, which I have to bow down to them because that's not the easiest job at the school. So we appreciate them as well for giving some people a break. And then all the other unnamed community groups, I mean, there's just too many to say, and all the sponsors for the school that help out and do other things. And just wanted to say, currently our school is really thriving. We have over 700 students. During the COVID time, we lost probably a little over 100 kids, and we're seeing a lot of those families and students come back, which is awesome. We've gained over 20-plus students since the beginning of the school year. We've been allotted 2 more teachers for next year, so that's exciting. We've sent our interim reports home this week, so we're halfway through the third quarter, which is really hard to believe that we're almost to the end. Our tutoring program is doing great things. I think Ms. Stoltz came and talked to you guys maybe a couple of months ago. That's continuing to do great things with the PTO, and then also the district has provided tutors for us, so that's doing really well. Ms. Lotion, the principal, is still going to be out for 3 more weeks, and so I'll continue on as interim, which has been great. And the district has given us Ms. Monroe, who's a retired principal, to help assist me while Ms. Lotion's out. So we've got some important dates coming up. We have student-led conferences coming up, and I think it's about 2.5 weeks. So that's an exciting time where students actually lead their conference with their parents of what they've done and how they're doing. So I know parents enjoy that and students get a little nervous. But I think everything's doing great at Oak Ridge, and that's due to our wonderful community. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One quick question. Don't we have a STEM program coming up later this spring?
Yes, I think the STEM, yes, thank you for reminding me of that. I think that's going to be in April. I don't know the date right off the top of my head, but that's going to be in April. So we'll let you guys know when that's coming up too, so you can come out. I know George
Excellent.
wants to play with some robots, so.
Well, just that, you know.
It was fun last
If y'all out in the audience haven't gone through this, I don't care what age you are, you will be amazed as to what the kids are doing at that school. I mean.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Oh, it is. I mean, people programming cars that, you know, these little toy cars and how they go into, you know, different parking lots or whatever within this thing that they set out. I mean, it truly is a mind-blowing experience. So.
I went.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, thank you guys very much.
Thank you
Thanks for
coming.
being here.
Yes.
Thanks for coming.
So we'll close then with my comments. It is a very busy season here in Oak Ridge. We're juggling, we're moving a lot forward. Thanks to staff for that, and thank you, Sean, for helping lead the AV upgrade. We appreciate it. I know a lot of families will be going on spring break soon, so we wish them happy travels and time off, hopefully. I want to encourage everyone to donate to the Veterans Honor Green so we can make the most of our matching funds. So every dollar you give is matched. You give $1, it's $2. You give $1,000, it turns into $2,000. So please join us. Canine Capers is coming up, which is one of the cutest events we have in the park on April 29th, right? Is that correct? It's a Saturday, and you bring your dog, and they're looking for people for the committee, and it is just tons of fun. I recently attended a meeting of North Carolina mayors, and you know, one of the big reasons to attend these meetings is to connect with the North Carolina League of Municipalities staff who understand what's going on across the state, and to meet with other mayors and make connections, which I certainly did. It was really helpful. One of the big issues that I think we all see on the horizon is that local zoning, that is our town and residents deciding how our zoning ordinances work, versus developers on one side and affording housing advocates on the other. They're trying to take some of our local zoning authority away and put it into the state's hands. You're probably not going to be surprised to hear that I'm really against that. I think most of council is. I don't even know what affordable is anymore. I had a friend check out those new apartments on 68, and a 3-bedroom apartment is $2,700 a month. But what I want for Oak Ridge is that we have full control of our own identity and our own destiny. And that's why we do strategic planning, capital improvement plans, and why we have ordinances, so that we can determine the variety of housing options that we want in our beautiful small town community. So I know that was kind of a rant, but thank you all for being here tonight, and please come back to our next meeting on March 30th. And now I'll invite a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. The motion carries, and we are adjourned. Thank you.